Hey, Marvina.
Hey Renee, how you doing?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, can't complain.
Good, good. I know we've been busy couple of weeks, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just been nuts.
yeah, it's a busy time of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I had the other day I had a facial scheduled and a massage scheduled, and it was I
Whatever.
was busy. I was busy. Feel for me, would you?
Retired people. Oh my God. Whatever.
Whatever.
I'm not gonna be a hater.
No.
I'm so happy that you get to go for facials and massages during the week, during the early part of the day.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
I am happy for you though.
Although the
But
gal
yeah,
that did my
that's a
massage,
good busy.
the gal that did my facial the other day went, oh, don't know what I could do with this, but let's give it a go. Oh gosh.
I miss your humor.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. So
Okay, good, good.
I was gonna ask you something, doggone it, and it left my mind. I'm gonna be old here pretty soon, and I'm getting
I have many of those moments.
yeah. Oh gosh. Well, we got 4th of July coming up. You got plans for that?
Actually, I do. I'm gonna have family over. They don't know
Okay.
yet, but yes, I'm actually going to have family over.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh,
Then my
good.
granddaughter will be here. She's visiting from Indiana.
Oh,
So
nice.
she'll be here for the 4th of July. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, good.
And how about you?
Yeah, we just do a barbecue and then we just do fireworks out in the street and
Okay.
so it's good. The kids really enjoy it. The little ones coming up are really into the fireworks, so it's
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Nice. It's funny, because as a child, that's the favorite part, right?
Yeah.
But as an adult, you just see your money burning up, like
Oh my
literally just
gosh.
burning
That is true, man. Oh, I
up.
got together with some cousins a few weeks ago for a barbecue that we had, a big family thing. We had 43 people, and
Okay.
some of the cousins were talking about a 4th of July that we had at one of the uncles' houses, and we
Okay.
had those sparklers. And
Uh-huh.
one of the cousins threw it up in the air, and it got stuck in a palm tree,
Oh, wow.
and the palm tree started to burn.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was like we had to ban that cousin from sparklers. Don't
Oh,
touch the sparklers. Oh gosh.
we used to do all kind of stuff with sparklers. Now that I think about
Oh,
it,
you did your name? Remember doing your name?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my niece and nephew found out you could burn the street. You know,
Okay.
you could put the message in the street.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we were,
Fun times.
yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
But like you say, now it's like,
Yeah.
I can buy you one firework, kids. Pick the one you want.
Right. There's something. I'm like, that's it. It's over that quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, you enjoy. Have fun.
Yeah. You too. You
Thank
too.
you. Thank
So
you.
today we decided to talk about unfinished. And we have a misconception, and you and I have talked about this several times, I think, both on a podcast and just when we're having conversation. How
Mm-hmm.
many people have come to us and
Mm-hmm.
think that they have to have everything all together
Mm-hmm.
before they can come to God? And
Mm-hmm.
again, I know we've spoken on this, but it just seems very important right now
Yes.
that we maybe address this issue again.
Mm-hmm.
And the unfinished title came from a Mandisa song that I just loved. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to it yet.
I did.
Yeah, and the lyrics just really, I think, sum up our walk with God, and that we don't have to have everything perfect or
Mm-hmm.
everything in order to come to Him. The lyrics, part of them is, no, my God's not done making me a masterpiece. He's still working on me. He started something good, and I'm gonna believe it. He
Mhm.
started something good, and he's gonna complete it. So
Mhm.
I'll celebrate the truth. His work in me ain't through. I'm just unfinished.
Mhm.
And I just really, really liked those words because it, it doesn't matter how good we are.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how good we think we are. We're
Mhm.
still unfinished. You even think about, and this is going to probably be, we'll get comments, I'm sure. You even think about Mother Teresa,
Mhm.
as dedicated as that woman was, and as devoted to the Lord as she was, unfinished.
Right.
Because as long as we're here,
Yep.
God is making us into to be more like Jesus, right? So
Mhm.
that's never finished. The only time we become finished is when we enter his presence, when
Right.
we are there with him. That's when
Right.
we're finished.
Right.
Yeah.
That is
So,
that is so true. And it goes back to, it's one of those things that we know it here, but sometimes we don't know it here, right? Even those of us that have been walking with the Lord for a while, sometimes I think we get into um this thing like, we try to fix things about us in our own strength, and we can't do that.
right.
Um God's his grace is, he gives us grace in our brokenness, in our, you know what I'm saying? We'll never, like he said, we'll never be able to get it together. Well, we'll never get it together and be here. Once we um complete what it is he has us to do, or
Right.
we're not complete until we're in his presence. And
Right.
so, um, you know, it's amazing how we strive for perfection, even when you don't know that you're striving for perfection,
Mm-hmm.
and how damaging it could be to us because we're trying to obtain this unrealistic goal,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you
Right.
know, because we're never going to be perfect,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, exactly.
and to think we have to stop doing certain things, or we have to get ourselves together to go to God. God is there anyway. I mean, he's,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, in every single thing we do. But that is exactly what he's saying. You need me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You the only way you're gonna get through this thing is with me.
Right.
And so
Right. Yeah. And I think if we can come to the terms to the fact that we are unfinished, I think that helps a lot. Now, I
mhm,
don't think it should be used as an excuse
mhm,
to continue what we're doing. If it's
right,
if God is directing us in a different way, it's like, well, I'm unfinished, you know.
right,
It's certainly not for that. But if we can understand that, like you say, that striving
mhm,
is not going to, all it's going to do is frustrate us,
right, right,
because it's only by God's strength and by God's direction that
mhm,
we're walking through life, as He has um, prepared for us, the life He has for us, you
mhm,
know. So I think it's interesting that we can sometimes, as Christians,
mhm,
um, we can give up very quickly.
mhm,
Uh, Instead of saying, okay, I'm unfinished,
mhm,
we take it as, well, I failed, so what's
mhm,
the point, right? And
mhm.
so I thought about a story, of course I did, in 8th grade.
Okay.
In the junior high we were in, you had to take certain classes, electives, right?
Mhm.
And most of it back then, because I'm very old, uh, were like home related. So you
Okay.
had the cooking class, you had the sewing class,
Home
you
ec,
had the, right?
yeah. Mhm.
And so I couldn't take 2 art classes, so I had to take another one. I had already taken cooking, so it's like, I'll take sewing, right?
Okay.
Hated it, hated it, hated it.
Me too. I
Yeah.
hated sewing.
Oh
I
my
love cooking,
goodness.
but I hated sewing.
I picked the easiest patterns I could possibly find, right? So I picked this pattern for a peasant blouse.
Okay.
Not much to a peasant blouse. I think I can handle it, right?
Okay.
And I still remembered it was gold fabric, like a muted kind of gold, right? Kind
Okay.
of a warm, harvesty color. And so I wore it to church after I had finished it. I had wore it to church for the first time. And this is no lie, no exaggeration. I was
Okay.
outside talking to the kids. So there were some boys around that at 8th grade you're trying to impress, right? At the same time, I am not kidding you. The elastic in both sleeves popped.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
now I just got these big old, and the boys were laughing and they
Oh,
thought it was so
wow.
funny. I I was so embarrassed.
Oh,
I have never sewn another thing
really?
ever in my life. I don't
Oh,
even put I go to my sister's to put a button on. Can you sew
okay.
this on for me? But I thought to myself, how often as Christians does something like that happen where
Mhm.
it's like, well, this wasn't what I planned. And instead of
Wow.
looking at it going, okay, all right, I had a failure, I had a slip up, I had a mistake, I'm
Mm,
unfinished, but we
mhm.
give up. I
Mm,
can't do this. I
right.
can't do this. God must hate me because I can't walk this walk,
Right.
or this is too hard, whatever it is.
Mhm.
We don't realize that we are unfinished. And so we just
Mhm.
we just give up. And um as I get older, it was easier to buy clothes than to try to sew them anyway. So I did okay with the giving up
Yeah.
on the sewing, but giving up on our walk with the Lord because we think it has to be a perfect thing
Right.
sometimes is well, it stops our progress for sure, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
So,
because then you stay in the state that you're in. You just kind of
right,
wallow, right? And
right,
you don't move forward.
right.
Um, and yeah, you just stay stuck,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
exactly.
Um, yeah, because those sleeves were probably cute, even after the elastic popped.
Oh, I don't, the sleeves were like this. They were like that.
That's cute. Oh,
Today I probably could have got away with it.
but we do, but it goes back to kind of what we talked about in our last podcast is that intimacy, having
Mhm.
that intimacy with God will also help us to know and feel when we mess up that we
Mhm.
can just come to God.
Right.
We're not perfect. And you do have to, especially as Christians, we do have to remember that because we're always striving, of course, like you said, there's a standard and,
Right.
God is holy. So, you know, we have to be holy, but we can't do that apart from God,
Right. Right.
you know, and God loves us so much that while we were yet sinners, right, before we came to him, he still loved us.
Mhm.
If he loved us then before we came to him,
Mhm.
he definitely is going to love us now. And again, it's not perfect. Not anywhere in God's word do we ever read that he calls us to be perfect. We put those
Right.
constraints on ourselves, right?
Right. Right.
And I think and part of that is because we base our thinking, we're human.
Mhm.
So we look at things through our lenses, right? You
Right.
know, but God doesn't
Right.
look at things that way. We're very limited. I guess
Right.
that's what I'm trying to say. We're very limited. So we want, we think God wants this because we want this,
Right.
but no, it's the total opposite.
Right.
No.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. I reacted a lot to the boys laughing at me,
Hmm.
because I was probably there thinking, I'd never marry her. She wouldn't be able to sew
Ah,
clothes for our kids. And And how often do we do that? We maybe have a slip up or something, and whatever somebody else says, like, oh, well, she must not be a Christian, or
Yeah,
yeah, you must,
yeah,
God must not really love you if,
yeah,
and so we just gotta, we
yeah,
can't listen to what others say.
right. That's
God would have been sitting there going, Renee, you probably should have put more than one stitch in the elastic, maybe a couple more, um, but yeah, so just giving up,
yeah.
you can't do that. But again, it goes back to, like you say, a relationship with him. If you know
Mhm,
he is not going to belittle you, he's not
right.
going to shame you, he's not going to judge you. And again, there's that standard. If you
Mhm,
keep doing things and then expect to go back to him and just say, "Oh, I'm sorry," he's
mhm.
probably going to go, "How sorry are you?" You know what I mean? You
But I
know,
think that goes back to the intimacy.
right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying? If you have that intimate relationship with God, God is going, He removes things from us. You don't even desire to do certain, certain things.
right, right.
But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a we it's amazing how we constantly battle with ourselves,
Hmm. Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
We're our worst enemies sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm,
So, yeah, so I was also thinking of another story, and this is kind of, I don't know, kind of gross in a way. People probably go, "Why'd she tell that?" Um, but this reminded me that we have to remember that he will constantly reveal things that we need to do to grow in relationship with him,
mhm.
grow in our faith, grow in our walk. Again, eighth grade, it was very, very interesting time for me in the eighth grade, apparently. But
Sounds like it.
I know, we had this librarian,
Mhm,
and she was a kind of a really grouchy gal, older. I think she was kind of German stock, so she was just very, uh, I don't know, very, I don't know how to say it, just very uh,
stern or
rigid, stern. Thank
okay.
you. Yeah. And so the kids
Mhm,
would say you should go into the library at lunchtime
mhm.
because Mrs. So and so, I won't say her name, um, she, okay, this is, sorry if this is mean spirited or gross or anything. She shaved the front of her legs, but not the back.
Okay.
So through her stockings,
Oh,
you could just
wow.
see all the hair in the back of her leg.
Okay.
But I thought to myself, the kids, of course, they thought it was funny and, oh, look at, but I thought to myself, how often,
Mhm.
or maybe she didn't even think, oh, it's
Yeah,
back there too.
right.
I just get what I
Mm.
see, and
Mhm.
I don't realize that there's, something back here too. And so I think a lot of times we are in that situation where we think we've got it, and he's
Mhm.
going to show us one more thing. Hey, did you forget about this? Did you
Mhm.
look back here?
Right.
And
Yes.
that's not a condemnation.
Right.
That's not a shame on you. You
Yeah.
should have thought of that. Come on, that's common sense.
Mhm.
It's, hey, there's one more thing we're going to
Mhm.
work on. You're
It's growth.
unfinished, but it's
Right.
okay. We're going to work on it,
That's
and
right.
we're going to develop it in you so that you understand and you can walk forward in this.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I was having a conversation with my mom not too long ago, a couple weeks back, and we are just talking about kind of the same thing we're talking about today and how, God is continuously showing us things and teaching us things and so my mom had made a comment and she said, well, okay, so next time I talk to you, I'm gonna be batting 100. And so I said, what? I mean, when you're batting 100, then that means you're no longer going to be here because God is done with you.
Mhm.
And my mom, all the stories I've shared, she's like, okay, well, maybe 99. Okay, that's not what, but we're continually growing, is what we were talking about. No matter how old we are, as long as we're still here, we should be continually growing,
Mhm.
continually um becoming more Christ-like.
Mhm.
Um so every day, like you said, every day that we're here, God is still teaching us something. We're still growing. In addition to us, um, uh, touching others' lives, God is doing something for us personally. I often have to, when I'm certain things come up, and I mentioned before how just, the kids growing up and all of that. And when I go through things, or when my kids would go through things as they got older, I had to get to the place where I had to say, okay, God, what is it that you're trying to show me? What is it that you want me, whether it's get my attention in a certain area,
Mhm.
you're trying to grow me because I'm involved in this situation too.
Yeah.
And I think so many times it's so easy for us to look at others, especially when, you know, when we're in a situation or things arise, we look at other people, but there's unfinished work in us. God is trying to work things out in us too.
Mhm.
And so I think we often just, it's easy to miss it, because we always look at what's kind of being done to us, instead of, God, why do you have me in this situation? Why are you allowing this at this time in my life? As uncomfortable as it is, why are you allowing it? What are you trying to teach me?
Right.
And so I often I have to catch myself a lot of times, because I can go down a rabbit hole. And so, um, so just remembering that yeah, we're not perfect. God is always, he's perfecting us. Every day he's perfecting us.
Right. Right. Yeah. Knowing that we're unfinished, I think, is one of the best gifts we can give ourselves,
Yeah.
you know. And I heard a pastor say it's wrong to compare ourselves to others,
Yeah.
because like we've talked about this many times. uh you see a pastor, you see someone in your church, and you just think, oh, well, they're just perfect, basically. They're just,
Yeah.
but they may seem perfect in
Yeah.
the public view,
Right.
but there's also a private part of them,
Yes.
and you don't know what they're unfinished in.
That's right.
But God is not, like you say, if they were batting 100%,
Yeah.
they're not here anymore. you know so
Yeah.
tell your mom, don't aim for 100%.
I'm sure she'll be in the comments.
Yeah.
But even you mentioning that, about how sometimes we see others as being perfect,
Mhm.
we also hold others to a certain standard, and it's unfair because, again, we're not perfect, right?
Mhm.
And I think sometimes when we see people, especially leaders, and they're people just like we are,
Right.
and and so I say that, and I'm speaking to myself as we talk about this, but they're not perfect, just like we're not
Right.
perfect.
Right.
So, we have to, again, it goes back to our previous episodes where we were talking about grace and all of
Right.
that. Still, it comes into, it comes into play. God, in God's has perfected us by his power, right? In his power, he's perfecting us.
Mhm.
Our weaknesses don't matter, because he's able to make it okay.
Mhm.
He's able to get us to where we need to go.
Yeah.
But we also have to be mindful of that, just like God is working with us, he's working with others too.
Right.
And they're, like you said, they're unfinished. We're unfinished. They're unfinished. And so we have to be careful too about, wrongfully judging other people, or
Right.
because, again, you don't know where their walk is. Like you said, you see one face of people, but you don't know what their struggles may be,
Right.
and so yeah.
Yeah. And it's easy, like you were saying about we can be critical of leaders and things, But even I realized when we were growing up, it was there was a very rigid standard.
Mhm.
And I've expressed some of it with the church that I went to as a teenager and a young adult, how rigid some of the Christians could be.
Mhm.
And I remember even being in that way of thinking, somebody would show up in church with, shorts and flip-flops. And you're
Mhm.
going, who does that?
Mhm.
That was our thought back then. Who does that? That is so disrespectful. But you can't expect reverence without knowledge,
Mhm.
right? Some of these people, like you say, that are coming into the churches, yes, they're unfinished, and maybe they have no reverence for God because they have no knowledge of God.
And I do think sometimes it's not even about reverence. It's maybe this is the best that they have.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And they're just trying to make it. They just need a touch from God. And that's where, you know what I'm saying? And they just know to go there. You know what I'm saying? I think that it goes back to that intimacy. God will remove certain things from us if as we are more intimate with him, but
Mhm.
sometimes we get in the way of others because of
Yeah.
our judgmental thought process,
Right.
right?
Right.
Uh, because we don't know what people's struggles are. We don't know why they're showing up the way they are today.
Right.
But but you said a lot in saying I do think that the way we were brought up in a lot, the intent was for us to have reverence for God,
Right.
and and many of us have learned that, but there's many of us that we're in a place of judgment,
Mhm.
unrightful judgment.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And it's like, the church is a hospital, right?
Yep.
You want the unfinished and the lost to come to your hospital, but so
right,
often we look at them and go, if you could just get better,
right,
if you could just get better and then come to
right,
us
right,
and we are going to address your needs. It's like,
right,
no, that's not how it goes.
right.
So,
And
yeah,
isn't that amazing? That was a mouthful. The church is a hospital, yet we expect perfection and for people to be like, hello, we're all sick in here.
yeah,
That's the whole
yeah,
point. That's why we're here, right?
yeah,
So,
exactly. We're all sick.
yeah,
We're all unfinished, but some of them
yeah,
have been on the IV a little longer.
yeah,
We've been getting
yeah.
some medicine.
Right.
But
Yep.
yeah, it is interesting. I think if we could change our focus,
Mm-hmm.
um, uh,
Mm-hmm.
that we're just all unfinished, I think
Mm-hmm.
there would be uh, a lot more grace that we show,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's, so, yeah, that's what I've been just thinking about is just, if we think we have to have a certain look or status to come to God, we're wrong.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because how have we always been invited
Yeah.
to come to God? We've
Mm,
been invited to come as you are,
yeah.
right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
even some of our songs, our great hymns have been just come as you are.
Yep.
And so there's no um, standard,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing you have to meet. And like you say, once you step into relationship, then he's going to start talking to you, you
Mm-hmm.
know, then
Mm-hmm.
he's going to start guiding you and uh, teaching you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
things for your walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I do think, in like you said, God tells us to come as we are. And sometimes I think we reduce that to just the physical appearance.
Hmm.
That means exactly where you are at. God wants you to come to him wherever you are in your walk in life. God just wants you to just simply come to him. And that's exactly what that means. Exactly how you are.
Right.
Um, I wanted to just read this before we wrap it up. God's love and acceptance are not contingent upon our perfection. Christ died for us while we were still sinners, showcasing that his love reaches us in our imperfection,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
very thankful
Yeah.
because God knows.
He'd be going, girl, you are unfinished. Ah, I know. I hear that a lot. And sometimes I'm just going, I know, but, and that's just our humanness, not
Yeah,
not
yeah,
wanting to hear,
yeah.
the truth, but, yeah, yeah,
Thank
just
God
going,
for His mercy and His grace. Thank God. Yeah,
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 yeah. And just going back to those, lyrics of Mandisa, he's still working on me. He's
yes,
making a masterpiece.
yes.
So don't get discouraged. Don't give up.
Right.
If he shows you one more thing that you
Yep.
need to work on, don't be frustrated that, "Oh, I should have seen that." It's like, no, he
Right.
works on our hearts continuously.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, until we bat 100.
Yeah. Until we better.
Oh gosh. So yeah. Anything else? Okay. Well, I got to say, we really appreciate people leaving comments.
We do.
And and if you don't sign in to YouTube or something and leave a comment that way, we really like to hear from you personally. If you have our email addresses, if you're friends of ours and you just want to send a, hey, like
Yeah.
what you said, or hey, you guys need to shorten your shorten your podcast up to about 15 minutes, but we really do appreciate
We do. The
the
feed.
feedback. It
Yeah,
makes
we
us,
do.
because we believe we're doing something we were asked to do.
Mhm.
And so the feedback kind of helps us know that, okay, we are on the right track. So yeah, do appreciate that. So, all right, my friend.
All right, Renee. Well, enjoy the 4th.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. And until next time.
Until next time. All right. You take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.